Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going through the summer sports challenge maps, giving you the best comps, best tips and everything like that. I've made graphics, so all you have to do is screenshot them, but I would still recommend you watch the entire video just because I give you like the best tips and tricks, and also like how to play the comps and like the positioning on the map, which is really important as well. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. So this is going to be 9 wins. You basically have to get 9 wins before you're going to get 3 losses. Before we get into it, 60% of you are not subscribed, so make sure to subscribe if you didn't already, and make sure you're smashing the thumbs up because it really helps me out and it literally costs you nothing. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're liking the video. And before we jump into it, if you are picking anything up in the shop, make sure you're using code TOM. And by the way, the best star powers and gadgets for every single brawler will be down in the description, so if you need those, make sure to check that out. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first map is going to be Power Alley. So this is going to be Volley Brawl. Obviously there hasn't been too much Volley Brawl and hasn't been like too much time to test out and see what's that good, but anyway, we have some very good comps for you guys to play on this map. The first comp we have is Gale, Jean, Stu. Now the first thing I want to tell you is that this map is very kind of open in the mid, but it is very close range on the sides. Obviously Gale is incredibly good in Volley Brawl because you have that super. If you time it perfectly, you're gonna be able to knock the enemies off when they're basically trying to stop the goal or the ball from reaching like the ground, which is when you score. Obviously we have Stu in both the comps I recommend here because Stu is just the best brawler in the game, and obviously we have Stu in literally every single comp that I do recommend in this video because Stu is the best brawler in the game right now. It's not even close. So yeah, that's why I have Stu here. And we also have Jean. Jean's another solid option in Volley Brawl because you know, you can pull people. Again, they go to stand on it, you just pull them out of the way and obviously they're not going to be able to stop the ball from reaching the ground. So that's going to be another easy way for you to score, is using that Jean super when the ball is about to land on the enemy's kind of area. But apart from that, the way you want to play it, you kind of want to make sure you have someone on the back line, but you kind of have to rely on them to make sure that they are kind of getting, or they're getting there, and that they are the one obviously defending. And then you want to have one person being aggro and one person in the mid as well, because if you have 3 people defending, you're gonna get pushed back, you're gonna get killed very easily. You want to make sure you're holding control and you just have one person that really doesn't have to do too much apart from just kind of getting on that spot and making sure the ball doesn't land. The other comp I have here is Rico, Stu, Tick. Definitely don't sleep on Tick with that new gadget, because you can use that on that zone and it's going to deal a ton of damage. Obviously you can just spam the zone like when they're trying to get the ball, and that's going to be very good for you as well. And Tick obviously has very good range. There's a lot of walls on the side here. Don't sleep on Rico on this map. Rico is going to be so good. Just look at the walls, okay? They are just perfect. Everywhere I look, there's perfect bounces for Rico. Rico is going to be so good on this map. And obviously we have a Stu as well, because Stu is going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, with this comp, I'd probably play Stu and Rico somewhere in kind of the mid to offense. Tick as well, kind of more defensively, but also in the mid as well when you are pushing up. So yeah, that's going to be the brawlers for this map. Now I did also want to mention that something very important in Brawl Ball is like where you actually stand when you are defending. So if you stand anywhere on the top, it's going to go close to your enemy's side, and therefore they're going to have less time to get there, but also because you're going to be closer to them because it's more towards the middle, it's going to be easier to kill them. So I recommend that when you are defending, you want to stand somewhere, as this image shows, on the top of that circle, and it's going to go closer to the middle, which means you're going to have to kill them a lot easier, because if you stand in the back, it gives them so much time to get to the ball, and also you're not going to be able to kill them because you're in their spawn. So make sure you're standing at the top when you are defending. That way it's going to be much easier to win. Okay, so the second map is going to be some basketball action on triple double. So the one thing to note is that a lot of basketball maps are very open, and triple double I think is one of the only maps which is actually has a ton of walls and like obstacles in mid. So that's something to definitely remember, is that I think a lot of people will underrate some tanks and some shorter range brawlers on this map, because it is a very short range map as basketball maps go. So the 2 comps I have here, the first one, Primo, Stu, Sandy. So the thing with a map like this is a brawler with like really good wall peek ability like Sandy is going to be amazing here, because you can just peek around these walls, hide around these walls. It's going to be amazing. Obviously Primo, don't really need to say too much about Primo. Primo is amazing in basketball, and obviously you're only going with one tank here, so you're not going to get countered too much. Even if they have like 3 kind of tank counters, it's kind of close range for a basketball map, as I said, so you should definitely still be able to do work. And then we have Stu, of course. Stu, best brawler in the game. What can I say? You need Stu in pretty much every single comp because Stu is that good. And I've also got another comp here with Ems, Stu, and Colette. So I really like this comp as well, because you have to remember, if you're going Stu, you can break the walls in mid as well. So that's something to definitely consider, is that if you go that first comp, you want to make sure with Stu, you don't want to break any walls because it's a very short range comp. If you're going the second comp, longer range, you want to break up the map with those Stu gadgets. And then obviously you have an Ems and a Colette to kind of counter tanks as well. This one, you don't really have like a made goal scorer. I guess Stu is kind of a goal scorer because you get your super in one shot, and it's going to be a little bit easier to score. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a very strong comp. So obviously we have some other brawlers here as well. It's now first to 5 points. If you didn't notice the change, it used to be I think 10 points. So yeah, you only need either 3 2-pointers or a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer. So that's something to definitely take into account. But I can see Gale being really good as well. Poco double tank could work really well, like Poco, Primo, Bull, or even Frank, like Poco, Primo, Buzz, Poco, Frank, Primo. That could also be very good as well, just because it's very short range. But yeah, definitely don't underestimate the short range brawlers on this map, because it is a very short range map as basket brawl maps go. Okay, then we have the final map, getting onto modes we're a little more familiar with. So this is going to be triple dribble. So this is actually going to be the final map, which is usually going to be the hardest, because obviously it's last. So there's going to be less players making to, meaning that more players will be better. So you're going to definitely want to listen to these tips right here. So the main comp I have is actually a Stu, Rico, Spike. So Rico, as this image shows, you want to go Rico on the open side, which as we have it now is going to be this left-hand side, and then you want Spike on the right-hand side and Stu in the middle. Just be careful because this changes every time. It depends what side you spawn, so you just want to move to the open side if you're playing Rico. If you're playing Spike, you want to go to that closed side. The reason we have this comp is tanks are very, very good here, and people love to play them in challenges. Rico counters tanks, Stu counters tanks, well, a little bit, and obviously Spike destroys tanks as well. Obviously they all have new gadgets, and new gadgets have changed the meta up so much. But yeah, that's what I would go for with this comp. Stu obviously in middle is going to be able to do work because Stu is Stu, and Stu is just so broken right now. The other comp I've gone with here is more of a Poco double tank comp. So this is more of a free-to-play comp. If you don't have Buzz, you can replace Buzz with like a Frank. That's going to be very, very good as well, or even a Bull, because I guess Primo will be in place, so you probably want to go Bull, just because Frank's going to get countered very, very easily. So yeah, you could go Poco double tank as well. The only problem with this is if you're going to face a comp like the other one I've gone with, which has like a Rico, Spike, Stu, it's going to be very, very tough for you just because you're facing 3 counters, but that doesn't mean that you can't win for sure. So with that, just make sure, Poco, you stick with one of the tanks. You don't need to be at both of them. Make sure you're healing them as much as possible, of course. And then some other brawlers I have here is Sandy. Sandy being a great mid. Nita, if you're struggling to deal with tanks, Nita's a little bit better than Spike dealing with tanks. Or I didn't even mention, if you're going Spike, probably go Fertilize, because you should be good against other comps. That's just going to help you against tanks. If you want to go Curveball, that's going to help you against other comps. We also have a Tick as well. Tick would obviously play mid. Jean would probably play mid, and Ems would probably play right, and Barley would probably play in the middle or on the right hand side. And the right hand side in this image is the close lane. So yeah, I don't necessarily recommend going throwers because I think there's going to be a lot of aggressive comps. So yeah, I would be careful when you play throws, but you could definitely go say B, Tick, and then Spike. That way you have B and Spike to counter like aggro, and then obviously you have the Tick as well, which isn't going to be as good against those aggressive comps, but is still going to be very, very good. Okay guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. As usual, if you have any questions about comps, let me know down below and I will try and answer as many questions as possible. As usual, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.